Your messy past isn't a secret. It's the gold in your seams. Most high performers I work with, like CEOs, physicians, university professors, high-level executives in elite sports organizations, writers, actors, dancers, and performing artists, believe they're successfully outrunning their past. They built the career, the reputation, the financial stability. From the outside, everything looks really solid. And there's a quieter truth. The parts of your history you try to push away are often the ones running the show behind the scenes. You might think that you've moved on, but unresolved history doesn't disappear. It reorganizes. It shows up in sophisticated, socially acceptable ways. You see it in your work, like perfectionism that feels non-negotiable, chronic over-preparation, difficult delegating, imposter syndrome at every new level, underpricing or over-delivering, procrastination right when expansion requires visibility. You see it in your relationships, emotional self-sufficiency that looks like strength, over-giving then quiet resentment, attracting intensity instead of steadiness, struggling to receive love or support, conflict avoidance until you snap. You also see it in your body, with a tight jaw, shoulders, shallow breath, tension, sleep that never fully feels restorative, palpitations or digestive stress, carrying that physical tension or weight that doesn't shift. And sometimes you see it in success itself. Explosive growth followed by collapse, achievement without fulfillment, constant reinvention, and a fear of being fully seen. You can build success on top of survival, but survival wiring doesn't dissolve just because you've achieved. In Japan, there's an art form called Kintsugi. When pottery breaks, they don't discard it. They don't try to hide the cracks. They repair it with lacquer filled with powdered gold. The fracture becomes the most valuable part. Stronger, more resilient, more beautiful because it was broken. That's how I see the work that I'm doing. In over 20,000 hours of client sessions and more than 4,000 hours of my own personal inner work, I've seen this repeatedly. You can't outrun your history, but you can integrate it. The messy parts of your story, the chaos, the shame, the guilt, the survival patterns aren't flaws. They're adaptive. They built the drive, the intelligence, the edge, the resilience inside of you. But when they remain unintegrated, they also quietly fuel over-responsibility, over-control, overwork, and over-proving. When you regulate your nervous system instead of fighting it, when you neutralize the old imprints instead of managing them, when you stop hiding the parts you think were too much or not enough, the internal war ends. That's when something shifts. You don't lose your ambition. You gain stability beneath it. You don't lose strength. You lose the chronic bracing. I wouldn't be in my third business. I wouldn't be working across trauma recovery, nervous system regulation, and performance if I didn't do that work. I wouldn't have stepped into 14 tennis finals if I hadn't addressed the narratives that were quietly running me. Those belief systems, that shame, the younger parts that still need support inside of you. When you honor the broken pieces, you honor the younger version of you who survived. And that changes everything. You become more grounded, more present, more relationally available, more creative, more open to opportunity. Not because you were pushing harder, but because you're no longer running from yourself. If you feel like you're constantly managing your past instead of being free from it, if you sense that there's another level of calm, clarity, and strength available to you, I'd be glad to help you find the gold in your seams. I work privately with a small number of high-performing professionals who are ready to integrate their history instead of outrunning it. If this resonates with you, send me a direct message with the word Kintsugi. We'll have a quiet, no-pressure conversation and see if this work is the right next step for you. This is Darryl at DarrylStewartWellness.